My dad took out an $80,000 loan in my name without telling me, so my brother could buy a truck. I found out when the bank called me for the overdue payments. I was on my lunch break, mid-bite of a soggy sandwich, when my phone buzzed with an unknown number. "Hello?" I said, half distracted. "Ms. Jane Doe?" The voice was cold, mechanical. "This is Bank of America. Your $80,000 loan payment is 3 months overdue. We need to discuss legal action." I laughed, a sharp, nervous bark. Not because it was funny, because if I didn't laugh, I would have thrown my phone across the room. The sandwich slipped from my hand, landing with a pathetic thud, as shock turned my stomach to lead. But that was just the beginning of what I've silently endured in this so-called family. The word tastes bitter now, a lie I've swallowed for years, smiling through betrayal just to keep the peace. If you've ever smiled through betrayal just to keep the peace, drop a comment and tell me where you're listening from. I really want to know. The realization hit me like a freight train, but I didn't crumble. Not yet. I grabbed my keys, my hands shaking so violently I dropped them twice before storming out of the office. The drive to my parents' house was a blur of red lights and honking horns, my pulse pounding in my ears. Tires shrieked as I slammed to a stop in their driveway, the gravel crunching under my boots as I marched to the door. I didn't knock. I burst in, the hinges groaning under my fury. "Dad! John!" My voice was a whip crack, splitting the quiet afternoon. Dad looked up from his newspaper, his face creasing with annoyance, like I was interrupting his coffee. "What's this about, Jane?" John sprawled on the couch, his eyes darting away, guilt flickering in the shadows of his slouch. I thrust my phone at them, the screen glowing with the bank's threat. "Did you take out an $80,000 loan in my name for your goddamn truck?" My voice broke, a scream clawing its way out. John flinched, muttering, "Yeah, we needed it for work." "Without asking me?" I roared, tears burning like wildfire behind my eyes. Dad sighed, folding his paper with deliberate calm. "It's just money, Jane. We'll pay it back." "Just money?" I spat, my chest heaving. "It's my name, my life. How could you do this?" Mom crept in, her hands twisting together, her voice a fragile thread. "We were desperate, honey. John's job—" "So you sold me out?" I choked, the air thickening with their betrayal, a noose tightening around my heart. The room tilted, my knees buckling as I collapsed into a chair. Tears streamed down my face, hot and relentless. "You forged my signature. You stole from me." Dad's face hardened, his eyes glinting with defiance. "We're not thieves. We're family." "Family doesn't do this," I shouted, my voice a jagged blade slicing through their lies. John mumbled, "We thought you'd understand." "Understand?" I laughed, a bitter, hollow sound. "The bank's threatening to sue me. My credit's in ruins." Mom reached out, her fingers trembling, but I recoiled, her touch searing like a brand. "Jane, please. No, you all lied to me." Dad loomed over me, his shadow swallowing the light. "We've sacrificed for you your whole life. You owe us this." I stared up at him, disbelief crashing over me like a tidal wave. "I owe you? For what? For turning me into your pawn?" The silence was a living thing, heavy and suffocating, their excuses coiling around me like chains. That night, I lay in bed, the darkness a shroud pressing against my skin. Memories assaulted me. Christmas mornings with Dad's warm hugs, John's teasing grin as we built snowmen, Mom's soft lullabies. But then the shadows slithered in. The times I emptied my savings for their emergencies, the way Dad always put John first, how Mom's silence enabled it all. Had I ever been more than a means to an end? My dreams, a house, A family, a future, lay crushed beneath that $80,000 burden. I wanted to scream, to tear down the walls of this house that had caged me, to claw back the trust they'd shattered like brittle glass. But beneath the rage, love lingered, a cruel tether binding me to them. I was a storm of fury and grief, torn between cutting them out and clinging to the ghosts of who they'd been. The next morning, I met Sarah at our coffee shop, my hands wrapped around a mug as if it could anchor me. "They betrayed me," I whispered, my voice raw and ragged. "Took my name, my future, and now they're acting like I'm the villain." Sarah's eyes softened, but her jaw tightened with resolve. "That's unforgivable, Jane. What are you going to do?" "I don't know," I admitted, my throat burning. "Sue them? Forgive them? I'm drowning." She leaned closer, her voice steady. "You don't have to take this lying down. Protect yourself." I nodded, tears blurring my vision. "A lawyer, maybe. I need to know my options." Her words were a lifeline, a flicker of hope piercing the chaos threatening to swallow me whole. The lawyer's office was a cold, sterile sanctuary, the scent of dust and leather grounding me as I spilled my story. Mr. Thompson pored over my documents, his voice a low rumble. "This is fraud, identity theft. File a police report, and we can fight to clear your name." My stomach lurched, bile rising. "They're my family. If they go to jail—" "I understand," he interrupted, his gaze piercing. "But this loan could destroy you. Your credit, your ability to borrow, your dreams. It's all at stake." "Can't we just transfer it back?" I begged, desperation clawing at me. "Only if they cooperate, and from what you've said, they're digging in." I left his office, my mind a whirlwind, but a resolve crystallized within me. I couldn't let them drag me under. Not this time. The confrontation came like a thunderclap. I gathered them, Dad, Mom, John, in the living room, my voice trembling but firm. "I'm reporting this. I have to." Dad's face contorted with rage, his fist slamming the table. "You'd turn on your own blood?" Mom's eyes welled up, her pleas a dagger in my chest. "Jane, we can fix this, please. You should have fixed it before you stole from me," I shot back, my voice steel wrapped in pain. John lunged from the couch, his finger jabbing at me. "You selfish bitch! After all we've done, all you've taken!" I screamed, my body shaking as years of suppressed anger erupted. Dad's voice boomed, a final crushing blow. "You're dead to us if you do this!" Time stopped. My breath caught, his words a guillotine slicing through me. "You're choosing this over me?" I whispered, my heart splintering. "You chose it first," he snarled. I stumbled out, the door slamming behind me, their voices fading into a haunting echo as I collapsed against my car, sobs tearing through me like shrapnel. The legal war was a brutal, drawn-out siege. Days bled into weeks, then months. Affidavits piling up, courtrooms thick with tension, their glares burning holes into me across the sterile space. Dad's stony silence, Mom's tear-streaked face, John's venomous smirks. They haunted me, each glance a fresh wound. The bank loomed like a vulture, circling for payment, while my lawyer fought to untangle the mess. One hearing, John cornered me outside, his breath hot with rage. "You're tearing us apart, Jane. Happy now?" "You tore us apart when you used me," I hissed, shoving past him, my heart pounding a war drum in my chest. Another day, Mom slipped me a note. "Forgive us, please." And I crumpled it, tears staining the ink, unable to bridge the chasm they'd carved. The breaking point came in a dimly lit courtroom, the judge's gavel a thunderous crack. "The loan is removed from Ms. Doe's name, reassigned to the defendants." Victory tasted like ash. They glared at me, a united front of resentment, as the weight lifted from my shoulders only to settle deeper in my soul. I'd won, but I'd lost them. I fled. New city, new job, a cramped apartment where the silence was both sanctuary and torment. The scars pulsed, trust a festering wound I couldn't heal, but I rebuilt, brick by agonizing brick. Mom's texts trickled in. "We miss you, Jane." And I stared at them, fingers hovering, unable to reply. Not yet. One evening, I stood by my window, tea warming my hands, the sunset bleeding gold and crimson across the sky. The future loomed, vast and uncharted, but it was mine alone. The pain lingered, a dull ache beneath my ribs, but so did strength, forged in the fire of their betrayal. I wasn't whole, not yet, but I was free. And as the stars blinked awake, I whispered to the night, "I'll be okay." For the first time, I believed it.